Good morning and welcome to day 4 of this 30-day adventure to great photos. I hope yesterday your quest for light went well. I hope you've been able to find all those sources of indirect light and really point out how could you be using those, in what circumstances, and obviously how were they created. It is so important. As a photographer, I'm always running around my day trying to seek the light and understand it. It is so fun in a way, to be honest, because I remember so many sunsets where I'm just looking all around myself and I discovered that there are new sources of light popping out in my environment. Might be simply the light being reflecting on a building to another one or between two trees. I mean, there's so many things happening that we can use in photography, and the more you are aware of it, the more you can use it and the more photo opportunities you have, and obviously better photos. So today we're not going to be talking about light, we're going to be talking about the second most important thing, which is stories. Why stories? Simply because stories make or break great photos. What do I mean by that? A great photo leaves you an emotional trace. It's a photo you're gonna remember for years, right? But a boring photo, a random photo, is something you're gonna forget in 10 minutes. The difference between those two is the emotional impact it has left on you when you looked at it. Did you get a story through that image? Did you have any sense of amazement, intrigue, shock, wonder, or simply were you curious about wanting to try to know more about what was happening in that photo? I've talked to a lot of photographers, whether they've been on the cover of Forbes magazine or they've been shooting all around the world for the past 30-50 years. It doesn't matter. It all comes down to storytelling. That's what they concentrate on the most, and this is what I concentrate on the most. This is exactly why you should work on the storytelling aspect in your work. Now, most people might think that storytelling only means human elements, but no, it can be through landscape, it can be through objects, it can be through situations. It doesn't have to be necessarily human. So remember that, because I know it's a misconception that storytelling equals humans. No, not necessarily. Let me show you a few examples with humans, and I'll talk to you more in depth about storytelling without human elements in the future. So here's a good example of a photo where I wanted you to get a feeling of adventure, of being almost like in an Indiana Jones movie. We were in this cave in Indonesia. There was beautiful light shining through that cave, and I really felt like I was in Indiana Jones. No kidding. This is what I had in my mind. I was like, how can I translate that sentiment of adventure? How can I get it across in my imagery to you guys? And this is what I captured. Now, here's another example in street photography. I was in the streets, beautiful light hitting the streets, and there was this group of people that were all interacting with each other or walking together, and I was trying to kind of tell the dynamic of the people that I was seeing around. There were like so many stories happening, a guy running after a bus, a guy biking, this group going together, and I felt like every one of those frames could tell a story or make you think about a story as a viewer. You see, in 98% of my shots, I always have that idea of stories in my head. Even if it's a little bit stretched out, sometimes I have to admit I have a lot of imaginations, but it doesn't matter. It could be a guy running across the street and you're wondering what's happening. It could be a girl with a dog. It could be a beautiful landscape. There is always something you can tell your viewer through an image, and I want you to work on that. So today, your mission, if you accept it, is going to go through your day and become more aware of the stories that are happening around you. All that dynamic that you might not be realizing at first. I want you to pause, maybe stay in a location for 5 minutes, look around you and see what stories could you tell. And if you have your workbook with you, write down what kind of story are you most impacted with? Which one would you like to tell? How would you like to tell it? Try to think about that, and obviously, what kind of emotion do you want your viewer to get out of that story in your image? That is an exercise that is key for the future of your photography, and this is what makes a difference between a photo you have forgotten in 30 seconds and the one you will remember for a long time. So now it's your turn to get out there and start being more aware of the stories surrounding you. I will see you tomorrow for a new day.